Welcome everyone to the Growing Goalie Podcast, episode 2. Today we have special guest Pheonix Copley, goaltender of the Los Angeles Kings. Pheonix, how are you doing?
Great. Happy to be here.
All right. Well, to get into this, I wanted to throw it back to your start at Michigan Tech, being an undrafted free agent. What opportunities did they offer you, and how did you sign your first NHL contract?
Yeah, Tech was a good spot for me when I was in the USHL. I was talking to some schools, and Tech stood out to me. They had Steve Shields as the goalie coach there. It was a good hockey program, and obviously a good school for engineering, and that was kind of what I was interested in. So it stood out to me for those points, and then getting there. They also signed another goalie, Jamie Phillips, who was drafted by Winnipeg. We were both freshmen going into our freshman year, so it was kind of like a good spot for me to be and kind of earn my ice time in battle with him because yeah, he was a really good goalie, and obviously being drafted, he's um, highly touted coming in. So it was kind of a position that pushed me to really earn my ice time, and then getting to work with Steve Shields there was awesome. And so I was there for 2 years. The first year I played probably half the games. There was a senior there as well, so me, Jamie, and the senior were all kind of battling for ice time, and it was kind of wide open between all three of us. Um, you know, we played well. We got to play again. Otherwise, it was the next guy in line's turn. So it was good for me to get that kind of that fire and that kind of battle in the high level there. So that was good. Then the second year, I had a good year. Played most of the games, and Washington had reached out to me early on. Um, and so I talked to them throughout the year, and then it was a little bit of a surprise at the end of the year that they didn't hint towards signing me, but they approached me with a contract offer, and it was actually a tough decision because I still had 2 years left of school. I really wanted to get my degree, but at the same time, Washington seemed like it was going to be a good fit for me. So it took a little time, a little bit of thinking and talking with my parents and some mentors to figure that out. But I went with my gut, which was to sign and give pro hockey a try, and that was kind of my experience there with Tech and turning pro. But Tech was awesome for me. It was fun. It's a small town, so it's kind of what I'm used to. In Alaska, it felt a lot of similarities there. So it was good for me in that way as well. So yeah, it was a good experience there, and I'm really thankful for everything that happened there.
Let's take it away from the hockey for a second here. I imagine that's 90% of your life, and you were talking about making decisions there, living in Alaska. What's the other 10% look like for you?
Yeah, I love spending time outside. I It's kind of something I've learned as I've gotten older and as my career's progressed, is to spend some time away from the rink doing things you enjoy. And I love going hiking, as you probably saw. I love fishing. I usually do a trip or two to Alaska in the summer to meet with family and go fishing, and just spend some time outside. I find it really relaxing and recharging. And then I also, outside of that, I have a tea company that started 2.5 years ago that my fiance mostly runs during the season, but in the summer I'm able to put a little more time into that. And so yeah, those are kind of my two big things outside of hockey. Yeah, got a dog that kind of forces me to go outside even when I don't want to, which is not often, but yeah, it's good.
Going back to the professional hockey, you step into the AHL, you have a pretty solid first season. How far did the NHL feel at that point in time?
It's hard to say. I never really thought about that. It was always just it's my goal, I guess. I never really thought about how far it was. I just thought about getting there, and what do I have to do to get there? What do I have to improve on? What's the path for me to get there? So I do remember the first when I turned pro, my first practice. I remember my fiance still jokes with me about this. I called her and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I can't even see the puck. It's moving fast. Like the plays, they're passing the puck, like making plays I'm not used to. And it's not like it's even like that major of a jump from college to pro, but it's just that much crisper, that much guys are a little bit more intelligent on where to shoot, when to pass, where to pass. So it's just like a little bit crisper, but a couple weeks later I'd kind of adjusted and settled in. But yeah, it didn't. I never really thought about how far away the NHL was. I was just trying to do what I had to do to get there. And I've been fortunate to play with really good goalies and have really good coaches to kind of help me along the way and give me pointers on where I need to improve, what I need to do, and things like that. So yeah, I've been really fortunate in that regard, and yeah.
Taking a little bit of a jump here to 2018 Stanley Cup Washington Capitals. You were a Black Ace on that team, correct?
Correct.
Would you care to talk about any of that run or maybe some of the famous celebrations that you were part of?
Yeah, that was really cool. I'm thankful I got that experience to kind of be around that and see the stuff that team went through and what it takes to get that kind of glory. So that was cool. That was unbelievable. That was a group of guys that just love playing hockey together, and I think that's kind of the key ingredient to going far in the playoffs. You can see Florida now; those guys love playing together. You can see Vegas when teams gel like that, they tend to go far. And so that was kind of what the biggest takeaway I took from being a part of all that was being on a team where guys will do whatever they have to do to win and be a group. And um, so that was cool. And then, yeah, obviously the celebrations were the celebrations. It was just, like I said, I was just very happy to be a part of all that and see the joy that everyone had. And yeah, that was unbelievable. It was felt like kind of like a storybook was just unfolding in the moment. It was cool.
Very nice, very nice. The following season, you get your first real taste of the NHL full time, playing 27 games, 905 save percentage. How was that season? How did that feel for you?
Yeah, that was good. Holtz was a good goalie to play with. He was always very supportive, and being my first year in the NHL, he kind of like would help me out with different things if I had questions about certain things. So it was awesome to be his goalie partner. But yeah, that was another good season to be a part of, and I got to do some extra work with the goalie coach there, Scott Murray, and he was the goalie coach in Hershey when Washington signed me, so I had some familiarity working with him, and he understands my game really well. So it was good to kind of be around him full time and really get some work in and iron some things out. And that was super helpful for me that season, that work there. And then obviously getting the experience of playing in the NHL for the full season and kind of getting my confidence that, what it takes to be an NHL goalie and where I need to get to be a dominant NHL goalie. So that was kind of my takeaway that season. And again, we had a good team there. That was a fun year.
We have a video series. I'm not sure if you've seen it. It's Superstitions and Rituals. I know Braden has a lot. He has a lot of a pregame routine. Did you pick up anything from him?
Yeah, first, yeah, Holtz was very dialed with his pregame routine. He was probably the most like on top of it that I've seen. Um, for me, like I just try and keep it pretty light. I do some visualization, obviously, like warming up my body and stuff, and then the visualizing is big to kind of get my brain going and get me in the right mindset. Um, I'd say that's kind of the biggest thing for me. I've been past few years, I like to put my feet up on the wall. That's kind of the only thing I would say that's like a superstition, even though it's not really a superstition, but more just to kind of flush the legs. And it seems to kind of be a good time to visualize when the legs are up. So that's kind of putting the legs up, visualizing. Those are like the big things I do before games.
I like that. Some goalies, they have so much and that can kind of take over that day, right? So it's important not to get too caught up in those.
To continue on that, there's times where I've like gotten into that where I'm like, all right, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. And then next thing you know, like I've got a list of things I'm trying to do and it ends up having a negative effect where kind of if you just kind of keep it simple and do what feels right, what your body needs, what your mind needs, and kind of intuitively let that guide you. That's what I've found has helped me the most.
Stepping away from that a little bit, the following season, you get that tough call, you're being sent down. What does that call feel like? What does that day feel like from a mental perspective?
Yeah, that was really tough because that next season I had what I felt like was my best training camp up to that point. I played well in the preseason. I felt like I was really ready to go in camp. All summer I'd been kind of working towards earning more ice time, like or putting together a really good NHL season, and um, you know So yeah, it was a big shock, but that's kind of how things happen in pro hockey, and especially at the higher levels. Things happen, and you just gotta kind of take it off the chin and keep working. And so that was kind of it took me a little bit. It wasn't immediate, but I knew at the end of the day I had to keep the right attitude. It's still playing in the AHL is a great opportunity, and it's a high level of hockey. And so I just I had some good mentors to talk to and help me in that regard. But yeah, at the end of the day, I just had to make the choice. Just like every day to show up, put in the work, and enjoy the journey, enjoy the experience, and trust that if I'm doing my best, then things will settle. And so that's kind of how that went. And I had great coaches in Hershey and great teammates, and we had a lot of fun in Hershey. We had some good seasons there, so that was a lot of fun there. And I'm really thankful for my time in Hershey. That's a really nice place to play hockey. Great little town, and they support the team like it's like the main show in town. So it was cool.
Who was your favorite goalie to play with, and who fits that crazy goalie stereotype we always hear about?
Oh, that's a tough question. I've played with a lot of good guys. I My first year in the American League, I was with Philip Grubauer, and he was a quieter guy, but great guy, great, really supportive, and unbelievable goalie. I was blown away how consistent he played night after night. He was always seemed to be dialed, and so that was really cool to play with him. I played with Jordan Binnington in Chicago, as well as Ville Husso. Both of those guys were good. I didn't play as much with Hus. He was kind of coming over from Finland, so I played like half a season before I was traded with him, and he was a good guy. Obviously, Binnington, his resume speaks for itself, but he was an awesome guy. We still keep in touch, and kind of joke around about some. We got in that fight the year after we were teammates in Hershey. It was kind of a just on a whim, but yeah, he's another really good guy. Fuchs, he might be the craziest one of them that I've played with, but he's a great guy. He loves having a good time, and he's always contributing with everything going on with the team. He's I don't think many guys would not crack a smile when he's around, because he's always jabbering about something. But I had a lot of fun with Fuchs. We spent a lot of time together away from the rink, and he's a really good guy. So I don't think there's any goalies I've played with that I haven't got along with and had a good time with. But yeah, I find myself, I always think like how fortunate I am, because a lot of the goalies I've played with have been really good. So I've been able to take some stuff away from how they play, how they carry themselves, how they handle games and stuff like that. So but yeah, I don't know if I could ever pick a favorite, just because I enjoy them all. But yeah, if you say crazy, I would think of Fuchs.
Love that. Love that. Talking your fight with Binghamton this year, you almost fought John Gibson. What's going through a goalie's mind at that point? And what's it like being in a goalie fight? We all want to know, especially at the professional level.
Well, the thing in Anaheim, it was just kind of heat of the moment. The game was kind of chippy. I was kind of getting banged around, and then I got a little bit of a cheap shot by one of their guys and just kind of lost it. I probably couldn't tell you what was going through my mind. I was just kind of furious. But I think I don't really know. I couldn't tell you what goes through my mind in a goalie fight. It's heat of the moment, and I guess sometimes things, the games get a little heated, and that's where it goes. But I never want that to be like part of my game. I never go into a game thinking I'm going to fight a guy. It's just like I think I play hockey passionately, and sometimes things go that way. But I certainly don't want to be like known as the guy who fights or anything like that. But I if it goes there, and that's like what's happening, then that's where it goes.
Exactly. Passion fuels us goalies, right? So we don't think of you as a fighter by any means, but it was cool to see the Binghamton fight, and it was cool to hear that from you. Let's stick with this season now. Signing with the LA Kings, going on that magnificent run, 7 wins in a row. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I'd been working for an opportunity with an NHL team. It wasn't working out in Washington, and yeah, I signed with LA last summer, and it seemed like a really good organization, kind of a breath of fresh air for me to try and earn my keep in a new organization. And I had heard really good things about the coaching staff, the goalie coaches, and everybody involved with the organization. So yeah, when they offered, I was thrilled. And then yeah, I started the year in Ontario and was working with Matty Miller, the goalie coach at the time there, and he was really helpful for me and kind of helped just kind of get me to where I needed to be. I feel like he was never trying to like change anything about my game. He was just like, stay sharp, stay ready. And then when the call came, yeah, it was just kind of, it was just a lot of fun getting the call going up there, and the team was hungry to win, which was awesome. And it's a kind of a good mix of veterans and young guys in LA. So it was a fun team to be a part of, and to get to play, obviously, like playing with a guy like Jonathan Quick was pretty cool because growing up was when he was having those great runs and kind of breaking into the league. I was watching him and when I was younger, so getting a chance to play with him and kind of see how he handles his business was really cool. He was a really good guy, like unbelievably supportive, and so obviously that's a big help when you have a goalie partner like that. So um, really thankful for that. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun. It was a good group in LA. They seem to do things the right way where everyone wants to win. Everything's about winning. So it's a good organization to be a part of.
Stepping over to the Kings, did you get a chance to work with Bill Ranford?
Yeah. Yeah. Billy was awesome. He was kind of the same way. He kind of, he gives you what you need with video and in practice little bits, but he kind of lets you work through some things yourself as well. So he's not like on top of us, like you need to do this, you need to do that. It's kind of, this is what I'm seeing, take it for what it's worth. And, in practice, if we have questions, about certain situations or certain saves, he's there to help. But it was more just like, he kind of hands off and lets us kind of manage our games, which was nice, especially playing a lot of games. It can be tough to change a lot in the middle of the season when you're playing a lot. So I think that approach works really well, and it seemed to help me a lot as well. So I was just able to kind of manage things and let him know if things were feeling a little awkward or weird in certain situations. And but yeah, he was an awesome coach.
Very nice. So there was no big changes made this season for you. No big changes in maybe positioning, how you approach the game from a goalie coaching standpoint, not a mental standpoint. Any big changes?
No, I wouldn't say nothing really technical, like kind of just staying sharp with different situations, different things on the post. Billy does have a certain way that he likes for us to play on the post. I don't know, like I don't really want to elaborate on it. It's kind of his. He'll probably talk about it, do interviews about it, but he has his own ways, and that was the only thing. Like in training camp, he showed me a bunch of video on how he likes us to play on the post and different things like that. And then that was the only really technical thing, but it wasn't like it's really not that big of a change. It's kind of just how he likes us to do it. But other than that, yeah, it was just kind of like do what you need to do to play your game, and come to us if things are feeling weird, and obviously they point out stuff if it's like blatantly obvious that we need to tidy something up. But like I said, that kind of helped me because I'd put in a lot of work with Scotty Murray in Washington and Alex Westland, who was the goal coach, and they both helped me a lot. And I had really kind of evolved my game with them to get it to where I need to be a consistent NHL goalie. So getting kind of just the freedom in LA to take what I had learned from those guys and then just kind of run with it and see where I could go with it. And having that freedom, I think, really helped me.
What about being in LA? Have you met any famous people? Is there one that tops the rest of them?
No, I don't think so.
No,
Unless you're referring to the Will Ferrell celebration, no, I don't think there's been anything like that.
no. Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, so Billy Ranford, he actually played the goalie in Miracle for all the on ice sessions. Being in LA, would you ever consider maybe being in a movie after this, after your NHL professional career?
if I get to strap on some of those old brown pads for a movie, I would absolutely do that. That that'd be cool. But I've never thought about that.
So we had chatted a little bit in the DMs after hearing the story about Bobrovsky losing a lot of weight during this playoffs. Do you care to talk about that?
Yeah. So there was a season I was kind of going through some not injuries, but I was getting a lot of cramping, like some issues with dehydration. One game, my leg like cramped up so bad I couldn't bend it and I couldn't finish the game. I was losing a lot of water weight in practice, a lot of water weight in games. In the playoffs, we had a double overtime game in Hershey, and I had lost like 19 and a half pounds or something, or 19 pounds, right around there. And so it was kind of like I need to figure out how to get this under control. Like it's kind of causing me issues. And then in 2017, I injured my adductor. I torn it off the bone, and so that happened in the playoffs, and so I missed the rest of the playoffs that year, and it was really challenging. There was nothing really that the medical community could do. They couldn't do surgery because where it's at on the pelvic bone, it would cause more problems than it would fix. Doing that with how much a goalie uses the adductor muscle, it would kind of cause recurring injuries. So there was nothing really I could do other than just try and get healthy and um, try and not let it happen again. And so it was a little discouraging knowing I just had to kind of wait. So that off season, I started doing a lot of research how I can fix the dehydration because I felt in my gut that being so dehydrated was caused the issue that led to the injury. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure that out, and then the next season, I just started to kind of experiment with how I can fix it. And what I was, I started at the end of it, I started making little tea blends with my fiance, trying to figure out different ways to hydrate. Started doing smoothies a lot, adding salt to smoothies and different things like that to try and retain the water as much as I could. And that all that seemed to help. And after doing that for a couple of years, that's when we were like, hey, this seems to really have helped me. Maybe we can find a way to help other people who might be dealing with this, or just anyone who needs that kind of aid with dehydration and sweating a lot. So that's how we kind of came to starting the tea company we have, and it's called Athletes Apothecary, and it's just something that we hope can help other people who've been in those situations where you're kind of put in a position and the options are limited. And I was finding that drinking a lot of Gatorade, drinking a lot of sugary drinks weren't really helping me. And so I found this has helped me. And thankfully I didn't injure anything else before I figured that out. But yeah.
I got one more question for you. What would you be doing if you weren't a professional goaltender? If you never touched the pads, what do you think you would be doing?
That's a tough question. I've always liked building stuff. I would think maybe I would be an architect or an engineer, but I could also just been a construction worker. I like making stuff. I like kind of using my hands and building stuff. So I think it would be something in there.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, I appreciate you coming on this podcast, and maybe we can do this again someday. Best of luck to you this season and this off season. Hopefully your training goes well, and best of luck to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.